But first, while we have some time, it is always good to have the good doctor on our BMW desk, Dr. Patrick St. Pierre from the Eisenhower Medical Center. This is going to be your 15th and final season as the medical director here at the BNP Paribas Open. We'll get to that in a minute. But first, great to see you, Doctor, and tell us about the relationship that's been going on with the Eisenhower Medical Center and the tournament for many years now.
Yeah, it's great to be back, and really love the correlation that Eisenhower has with the tournament. They've been a sponsor and a promoter of the tournament for many years. We take care of not only the players, but we also take care of all the fans that are out here and have 2 first aid stations that are fully packed.
And so when you take a look at this year compared to other years, a little different portion of the season, right? So how has that affected your team?
Yes, by moving the tournament up by 1 week because of the Olympics and having to change the schedule, we've had a cooler weather. So sometimes in the second week, we start getting that hot weather, and sometimes up to 100 degrees. This year, it's been nice and cool, and a lot of heat injuries we've avoided.
So one thing we talked about earlier, you've been doing this for 15 years now, but this is going to be your last year as the actual medical director here of the tournament. What are your best memories doing this job?
Well, probably the best thing that we get is to interact with the players. And just like we do with our patients in the office, so we have patients who come in and they'll have an MRI or an ultrasound, or we examine them and try to determine what their injury is. And sitting down with the player, but not only the player, but the coach, sometimes the parent, sometimes the agent, and they're all in the locker room. And so we describe the injuries, tell them what's going on, tell them how they can get better. And then sometimes we have to say, well, it might be better to take some time off to get better, or sometimes we can get them through the play.
One thing we talked about previously, and that, you can't talk about injuries or medical stuff outside of the realm of that player unless it was on a nationally syndicated show like Taylor Fritz was a couple years ago when he went in and won against Rafa, biggest title of his life. So take us behind the scenes of what you can tell us what went into him getting on the court that day.
Well, the biggest thing about that match was we found out about the injury really just a few hours before he was set to go. So we didn't have the opportunity to do an MRI or do anything else. So we had to go by clinical exam, and then gave him some injections, and he actually did very well. And we did get a little bit lucky, and that he didn't have a major injury that was underlying that we couldn't detect by doing an MRI. So we were able to get Taylor back on the court, and he had a great match, and he won the tournament. So that's a very exciting thing. But as you said, this is about the only thing I can talk about because everybody else has privacy things, and at least this was on Netflix.
Yeah, absolutely. So listen, after this year, tell us what you're going to be doing going forward, and kind of what went into the decision to make this the last year as the medical director.
Yeah, well, next year is going to be my last full clinical year of taking care of patients, and I'm helping develop a robot to do shoulder replacements. So I'm going to put more full time into that. Hopefully the FDA is going to clear it this year, and we're going to start doing those surgeries next year, and then we'll go ahead and move on from that. But I'll still be helping out with the tournament next year. So it'll be nice to come back one more time.
That's really cool to hear. Best of luck with getting that approval for all the players, the fans, the tournament staff. We thank you for all your service over the past 15 years, and have a great rest of the tournament.
Thanks very much.
Dr. Patrick St. Pierre, as always, joining us here on the BMW desk, keeping everybody healthy here in the desert. When we come back, the third set between Jasmine Paolini and Anastasia Potapova. It has been a good one. We'll get you out there after a quick break.